In this video, you will learn how to multiply fractions by fractions and fractions by whole numbers. When multiplying a fraction by another fraction, it's simple. Just multiply the numerators together and the denominators together, and then make sure to simplify your answer. Unlike adding fractions, you do not need to find common denominators, and you do not keep the denominator the same. You multiply both denominators. So here is an example. We have 3/4 times 2/3. First, we will multiply the numerators. So 3 times 2 gives us 6. And then we will multiply the denominators. 4 times 3 gives us 12, 6/12. And then we would simplify that by dividing them both by a number they have in common, which is 6. And we will get 1/2. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. Now let's practice multiplying some fractions by other fractions. Our first one gives us 5/9 times 3/8. So we multiply our numerators. 5 times 3 gives us 15. And then we multiply our denominators. We have 9 times 8 gives us 72. So for now, we have 1572. We will simplify those later on. First, we're going to go through and multiply all of the fractions. So for our next one, our numerators are 2 times 1, which is 2. Our denominators are 7 times 3, which gives us 21. So for now, we have 2/21. For our last one, we have numerators of 4 times 2, which gives us 8. And then for our denominators, we have 9 times 5, which gives us 45. So for now, we have 8/45. When you go to simplify your fractions, you want to find a number that both the numerator and denominator are divisible by. So for 15/72, we'll think about what you can divide those both by listing their factors. So after listing the factors of 15 and 72, we see that the biggest that they have in common would be 3. So we can go ahead and divide the numerator and the denominator by 3. So 15 divided by 3 gives us 5, and 72 divided by 3 gives us 24. So in simplest form, it would be 5/24. Now we can work on simplifying our other fractions by seeing what they have in common. 2 and 21 only have 1 in common, so this fraction is already in simplest form. So our final answer would be 2/21. For our next one, we will try to simplify 8/45 by seeing what 8 and 45 have in common, if anything. So 8 and 45 also only have 1 in common, and if we divide by 1, we would still get 8/45. So this is already in simplest form as well. Now let's practice multiplying a whole number by a fraction. We want to turn the whole number into a fraction, and the easiest way to do that is to give it a denominator of 1. So we're going to put 6/1 because the fraction bar represents division, and 6 divided by 1 will still give you a whole number of 6. Now that we made our whole number into a fraction, we'll just use the same strategy that we used to multiply our fractions. Multiply the two numerators, which would be 6 times 3, which gives us 18. And then multiply the two denominators. We have 1 times 7, which gives us 7. You'll notice that our answer is an improper fraction because our numerator is bigger than our denominator. So we're going to use long division to simplify it into a mixed number because the fraction bar represents division. So we're going to do 18 divided by 7. I set up the long division with 18 as our dividend and 7 as our divisor. So we think about how many times 7 can fit into 18. 7, 14, that would be 2 times. So 2 is our whole number. We're going to subtract 14 because 7 times 2 is 14, and we are left with 4. That 4 is going to become your new numerator, and your denominator is going to stay 7 since it was sevenths. So 18 sevenths is equal to 2 and 4 sevenths. 2 as our whole number and 4 sevenths as our fraction. Let's try one more example of multiplying a fraction by a whole number. The first thing you want to do is make your whole number into a fraction by putting it over a denominator of 1. Now we can multiply our numerators. 8 times 1 is 8. And we can multiply our denominators. We have 6 times 1, which gives us 6. Again, we are left with an improper fraction because our numerator is bigger than our denominator. So the fraction bar tells us to divide 8 by 6. And 6 fits into 8 once. Minus 6, 6 times 1 is 6. And we're left with 2. That 2 becomes your new numerator, and your denominator stays 6. So 8 and 1/6 is equal to 1 whole and 2/6. Now we have a mixed number. But if you look, you can simplify that even more. We have 1 whole and 2/6. And if you think about 2/6, you know you can divide 2 and 6 by 2 to simplify that even further. So we get an answer of, don't forget your whole number, 1 whole. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So really, if you simplify it even more, the simplest form is 1 and 1/3. Thank you for watching my video. I hope it helped. Check out my Teaching Exchange classroom for worksheets and centers, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos.